on Facebook, the 1420 WEMB Sports Radio Facebook page. You're able to watch this show on archive or live if you prefer. You can also, of course, listen to jetbroadcasting.live on the internet. And, of course, you just tune to AM 1420 if you are in the Tri-Cities area. Of course, that will also allow you to listen to what we feel is the best sports talk in the market. And, I mean, really, when I was listening, Dan Patrick coming in, of course, Patrick has now, we've got two of the top three syndicated radio shows in sports radio. Talkers Magazine ranked, I believe, Colin Cowherd number 1 and Patrick number 3. And I'm kind of surprised that Patrick is number 3 because Jim Rome's stock is really dropping like a brick. I mean, Rome really does have now the feel of yesterday. And I know what he's planning for his 100th annual smack off or something like that. It's not that putting callers in their place is not entertaining. It is. I just don't know if callers are the future of sports talk radio. That's why I don't take them, because this isn't necessarily, no, this isn't about what Joe from Sulphur Springs thinks. And he wants to cheerlead on the air. No, that's not what this is about. This is about what I think. And that's what sports talk radio is. You tune it. No one ever said, oh boy, I hope that, Lemmy from the Bronx calls in today. I can't wait to hear what he has to say. No, it's the host that you listen to. Taking callers is basically lazy radio. Now, one time, the sports talk show was probably a public forum. Yeah, back in the 80s and the 90s, something like that. But in the advent of Twitter, the advent of Facebook and all kinds of social media, let alone the sports message board, which became very prevalent in the early days of the internet. Not so much anymore. You can read what people have to say online, and you don't have to wait on hold for a half hour. And the call just doesn't go out in the air and then dissolve. And actually, the post stays for quite some time. So, there you have it. By the way, I want to remind everybody about Asian House. If you haven't had lunch yet, go eat there now. Because first of all, you get 10% off if you mention my name. Mark E. Bilson, Tri-City Sports Now, 1420 WEMB Sports Radio. Asian House is located at the Shops in West Market. If you're driving to Jonesboro, that's, 11E 321, the road to Jonesboro from Johnson City, so West Johnson City. If you're coming from Greenville or Johnson City, it's on your right going, once you get right into the city limits right there. Leisure Lane, is where the shops at West Market are. Obviously, plenty of parking. If you're looking to go shopping or something, it's a whole shopping center. But I want to tell you about eating. And the menu there is really, really expansive. And I've talked about the lunch dishes before, how they start for Chinese at $5.99, and then you can get some, something off of it by just mentioning my name, 10% off. Well, tell me you heard it on 1420 WEMB Sports Radio. The other thing, though, is sometimes this time, that midday lull. We know what it is, the midday lull. You have lunch, but then some of that cheese, some of that grease, some of that potatoes really starts to slow you down. Maybe the soda pop or the caffeine that you had, that's now, it's not in your body anymore. Around 2:30, you are really at the wall. Oh my God, what am I going to do? You know what it's like. Well, I'm going to tell you how to prevent that. You want to go to Asian House right there, the shops in West Market, West Johnson City, right on Market Street, 11E 321. And order the sushi. I used to be a cab driver. I mentioned that a lot. Cab drivers, we work 16-hour shifts like it's nothing. Right, we don't even know what day it is, right? These are cab driver stereotypes. I used to eat sushi for lunch. Why? High in protein. And the rice and the fish, very low in fat. You could eat that. You would not have the midday lull. Now, think about this. Sushi in Johnson City. Sushi in the Tri-Cities. Where do you go for that? Well, you go to Asian House. And you go there now for lunch. They're open. They're open 6 days a week. I invite you to go there now. Asian House Shops in West Market. Right there. I've said it before. I'll say it again. 11E, 321. Shops in West Market. That's the shopping center right there. Asian House. Tom always takes care of you. And also, don't forget, July, it's summer, picnics and all this. Well, what happens with picnics, right? You have sandwiches. I've never been a big fan of sandwiches. Never. I just, I don't like mayonnaise. I find, mustard revolting and all this. Well, you bring the picnic basket out there and, next thing you got bologna sandwiches and, oh my God, I forgot to take the rind off and all this. And all of a sudden over here, you've spilled the drinks and all that. It's just Asian House. GoAsianHouse.com. They do catering. Why don't you take something that's a little more exotic, let's say a big Chinese meal, and you take it into the park and eat it outside? To go. Who doesn't, Chinese food is always to go. Well, you can do that at Asian House. Right there, Shops in West Market, 10% off by mentioning Marky Bilson. Really, the place to go for both Japanese and Chinese food in the market. And the menu is really expansive. All right, I am Marky Bilson. We began the show talking a little bit about the decision of Kerry Blackshear Jr. He's going to go to Florida, and that makes the Gators the trendy pick to win the SEC next men's basketball season. All this basketball talk. You get that? I mean, we got basketball talk out the wazoo. You notice that here? And I will just say this. It's like there's always a story going on, and so then to sort of ease the sting of not getting Blackshear, Rick Barnes has just come out with a statement. There's the transfer from Chattanooga by way of Arizona State. Talked about him at the start of the program, and it's Uros Plavsic, because the Vols are really, really thin now. They needed Blackshear for the boards. They needed Blackshear on the boards. There's no question about it. 15 points a game at Virginia Tech. The leading scorer on the boards returning for Tennessee has 3. It's John Fulkerson. And look, you can be the biggest Tri-Cities guy in the world and the biggest Vols. John Fulkerson is not going to put the Vols on his back and lead them to the NCAA tournament. He's a role player. He's a shot blocker at best. That's what his role is. Now, but all of a sudden, so right after they don't get Blackshear, suddenly Barnes comes out and says, well, we've asked for that waiver for Plavsic, and we think we're going to get it. Now, that's been the line from Knoxville since he announced his transfer from Arizona State. Maybe it will happen. Maybe he'll be able to play right away. They'll certainly do everything they can to make it so. Something like Jean-Luc Picard here now. I drink coffee, not tea. All this sort of... And I still have some hair left. Come on. Anyway, but I'm a Kirk guy. Here's the deal. That is so in response to Blackshear going to Florida. Oh, yeah, Plavsic could play another... Plavsic played, one game last year for the Sun Devils? I know Tennessee fans will eat it up. Tennessee fans believe stories that come out of Knoxville, and they don't say, Boy, what propaganda is this when the headlines read, Vols have good day in church, which was actually a story last August. I couldn't believe it. I was like, you can't, Vols eat bologna sandwiches in picnic. Or if you wanted to, it wouldn't be news if they went to Asian House, though. It really wouldn't, because, that just, everybody does that. So, but anyhow, that is a story released. Yeah, we think we can get the waiver just to sort of cover face. That is the most, public relations statement. And what does it mean? Because he may be 7 feet tall, but I gotta tell you, Plavsic is not in the league of Blackshear. Not by a long shot. Did the Gators win the SEC yesterday in men's basketball? That's a bit much. But they are a trendy pick now. A very trendy pick. And it's hard to say that they won't be better than the Volunteers. In fact, don't make that pick. No. Vols could still go to the NCAAs. Got 3 good guards. And if they put up an offense, which I actually am not totally against this, where you go down and you basically look 3 first, second, and third, and once you put up the shot, then maybe you hope for, if it doesn't go in, Plavsic the 7-footer to put it in. But still, that's not a bad strategy on the sort of team that they'll have. It could be successful. But it's not as complete, and certainly the Vols do not figure to have the depth that many of their SEC mates will have next year. So, NCAA tournament, yeah, it's a reasonable goal. Why wouldn't it be? I don't know if they'll make it, though. It's not a slam dunk, no pun intended. I, of course, would rather watch hockey than basketball. And so the story came out yesterday that Roberto Luongo has decided to retire after 19 seasons in the NHL. By the way, yesterday I said Brooks Orpik, who retired after 15 years, had won 3 cups. He had actually won 2. One in 2009 and the other with the Capitals in 18. But anyway, 40 years old is Luongo, Florida Panthers goalie. 489 career victories, 3rd in NHL history behind only Martin Brodeur and Patrick Waugh. And this guy's, breaking the records that Sawchuk had, Brodeur is the only goalie to have appeared in more games or made more saves than Luongo. So in 3 years, we'll see this guy go to Toronto. Will it be sooner than that? Mario Lemieux, Wayne Gretzky, they were 3 years for them to make the Hall of Fame. Why? Put them in now. Hockey Hall of Fame is good at that. Could someone top 3 in so many statistical categories also get that waiver? Anyway, a Montreal native, and let's see here. Panthers, Vancouver Canucks, drafted by the Islanders, actually, back in 97. Kind of quietly done it, Roberto Luongo, because, he did not win a cup, but just a lot of consistency there. All right? And so one of the great goalies of all time will be leaving the National Hockey League. I won't be leaving you. I still have an hour to go. I will be talking a little bit. There could be, there's this idea of shortening the schedules in sports. The NBA is really talking about that. I'm going to try to do a media watch. And also, I'm going to try to propose this. There's a law in the books in California that the NCAA really doesn't like. But if it goes through, I can't imagine a 5-star athlete not playing for a California university. And I'll tell you why when we return. It's Tri-City Sports Now, and I'm coming back right after this.
1420 WEMB Sports.